All right, good morning to you. It is Wednesday morning. It is an active morning across portions of the UP. And we're going to talk about some of the hazards out there that you will likely encounter. And we're going to talk about when it improves. So, here's what you need to know there is a TV6 first alert weather day that is in effect until 10 a.m. due to the potential of whiteout conditions at times. Now, this is for the northern counties, areas near Lake Superior, because we have high winds out there that's been coupled with moderate to heavy lake effect bands of snowfall. As far as visibilities, most of the morning visibilities have been at around a quarter of a mile to about half of a mile, and then you would get those kind of spin up winds that will briefly cause whiteout conditions. And so there are some areas that are a little bit worse than others. It's not total whiteouts out there, but definitely not great early this morning. So we're asking that you slow down and that you keep a safe following distance from other vehicles if you are traveling from these areas also, okay? Because when you're passing people, you're also kicking up snow for the drivers on the right-hand side and, causing more bad visibility in many areas. So that's what you need to know. That's what we're dealing with this morning until 10 a.m. Here's the area that we're talking about. This is kind of a visual depiction of that through the morning, okay? But it's mainly Marquette and Alger counties experiencing some of the more dangerous conditions. This is outside of the station, US 41, and you can see the trees kind of whipping around a little bit from the stronger winds. We have some of that snowfall that um, is kind of blowing around. So because that wind is still continuing strong, we might notice that there might be, a decrease in snowfall, but it's going to whip up some of the fallen snow already that's fallen during the overnight. So there's still going to be some hazards here going throughout the morning. And we're seeing US 41 now, right now, some slowdowns and backups because there's a lot of people trying to pass people on the right hand lane. So please make sure that you are driving and you're going the speed limit that's appropriate for the road conditions out there. Plows have been out there clearing out the snowfall, but you can expect very slippery conditions. This kind of did start off as more of wet snow, and then it kind of transitioned into more of that very fine, powdery snowfall. Visibility this morning around a quarter of a mile, as I mentioned, for most of the Keweenaw, Marquette County, portions of Alger County, visibility at about a mile over in Delta County. So that north central section of the UP with the worst conditions here. We've had gusts generally be around 40 to 45 miles per hour along Lake Superior, but occasionally we've had those gusts push near 50 miles per hour. So the range today will still be around 35 to about 45 for the majority of the morning. Speeds have been noted at around 25 to near 30 miles per hour along Lake Superior and less than that across the south. So this is really kind of uh, mainly an issue for those folks in the northern counties. So winds today, they are still going to be pretty high for at least through the early afternoon, 1, 2 o'clock. It's really not until mid to late afternoon where we start to notice that the winds kind of weaken below 40 miles per hour. So it is going to be blustery. Now, the advisories on the West End have expired. So that was for Gibbet, Ontonagon, and Keweenaw counties. So advisories in those counties dropped. Advisories in the central and the eastern UP still in effect until 1 p.m. as per the National Weather Service office. Here's a look at that radar loop imagery. We did have a lull for a little bit early this morning, and then we've had some of that lake effect snow expand as well across Alger as well as Marquette counties. So if you're traveling in any of these areas, this is where you will likely have bad visibility. US 41, West Ishpeming, 35, also into M553 into Sands, going down to US 41, that's headed towards near Trinary, M28 into Rock River, Chatham through 94 and near 94, and then just east, or rather just west of Munising. Some of these lake effect bands as far south as northern Delta County, but again, the worst conditions right here in this area. Moderate to heavy intensities and with that wind. Okay, here's the hour by hour. We still have a few hours left of this more intense snow, but we're looking at the intensities to weaken this by midday. You'll notice a change and a shift with actual lake effect snowfall happening, winding down around midday by the early afternoon. It is cold out there. It is blustery. Those winds, as I mentioned earlier, still will be fairly strong into the afternoon. And so it's going to feel rather cold outside. With single numbers below zero for wind chill readings for the majority of the daytime hours. Here's what's happening, more of atmospheric setup. That front that came through yesterday has moved on east and south of the UP. There's this big upper level trough that's been digging in behind it with that cold Arctic air. The lines, well, they're tightly compact. Those pressure lines are tightly compact, and that's causing those higher winds. So that tight pressure gradient, all right? We will still have this big upper level trough linger over the upper Midwest for days to come. And it's going to continue to bring in waves of energy and disturbances. This goes all the way through this weekend and into next week. With a setup like this setup is just going to result in clipper after clipper after clipper system coming through with some snow, lake effect snow happening after that, and cold conditions. We're also expecting the pattern to become more below normal. So we do have a couple of days of lower 20s, but then we're looking at next week to have a few days of single numbers for high temperatures to low teens. So that would be Monday and into Tuesday, getting us below the normal range. Still below normal regardless as we continue here through Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But yeah, here's that system. And let me see, I'm going to see if I can expand this out a little bit farther because this goes out until Sunday morning. See here, this is Sunday morning. Let me get you a little bit farther out into the future. Today is Wednesday. Let's look at next Tuesday. So here's that pattern. This is today. Here we go for Friday, Saturday, the weekend. Again, pumping in that cold Arctic air getting reinforced. Now, this is early next week. This is next Monday into next Tuesday. Even colder conditions expected. Bitter cold for next week. So we're getting back to that winter weather. We did have last week be unseasonably warm, and we did lose some of that snow base that we had because of that warm up. But we're going back to that cold pattern with bouts of snowfall almost every single day. So yeah, that is what is happening. We have, let's see here. Our next clipper is going to come in tomorrow evening into Friday with more snowfall. And here's a look at that. This is tomorrow morning, if you are curious. Not the worst out there. A whole lot better than what we're waking up to this morning. Again, depending on where you're at, that is. Snowfall starts to move in tomorrow late in the day, more widely scattered in the evening, and then it continues scattered for the most part Friday. It also looks like we're going to be having more heavy intensities of lake effect snow on the west end of the UP. So I'm talking about Gibbik, Ontonagon, Houghton, and Keweenaw counties, where that intensity might be a little bit more heavy from lake effect snow there. That goes until Saturday. After that, we're expecting more lake effect snow this upcoming weekend. Here's another look at US 41 out there. Again, as you're out and about in these two main counties, Marquette and Alger counties, please be giving yourself plenty of time to get to your destination, a safe distance from other vehicles. There have been reports of people getting in the ditch because of the road conditions out there. So please be safe. Yeah, that is the update. Let us know what it's like out there for you. and you guys be safe out there. Have a good day.